Greetings to all the viewers. The session is going to cover with the oxidizing agents. A series of sessions we already conducted where oxidation reaction general overview session was conducted. Later on, individual oxidizing agents are going to be discussed. In that series, now we entered into the concept called potassium dichromate. It is a strong oxidizing agent K2Cr2O7. Here you can find the K2Cr2O7. It is the kind of dimeric form of that chromium and oxygen atoms, and it is the salt of potassium. So you can clearly observe chromium is accompanied by double bond O in this direction. And here two single bonds are accommodated around the chromium, and bridgehead oxygen able to bonded with another chromium metal, and there is another double bond O. Here is O minus. The charge is compensated by the counter ion called K positive, and here also O minus counterbalanced with the K positive. This is the way you can observe. It is the dimeric form where you can notice two chromium atoms, two potassium ions, and how many? 7 oxygen atoms are located. Here is the potassium dichromate trade product you can observe, and dichrometry is the common titration. Most of the people aware about that one, and crystals of potassium dichromate is mentioned for your kind reference. And molar mass of potassium dichromate is mentioned as 294.18 gram per mole, and its density might be 2.68 gram per centimeter cube, sorry, gram per centimeter cube. Boiling point, it will boils at the temperature 500 degrees centigrade, and the melting point is 398 degrees centigrade. This is the way potassium dichromate brief history is provided for your understanding. Let's enter into the concept called potassium dichromate K2Cr2O7. You can clearly observe here we have a chromium, two chromium atoms, and two chromiums are bonded with the bridgehead oxygen, and each chromium surrounded with the two ketonic on the same chromium, and one of the single bonded O minus is located negative charge counterbalance with K positive. In the same manner, another chromium is also surrounded. Potassium dichromate is a strong oxidizing agent commonly used in the organic chemistry and inorganic chemistry as well. It is the in its oxidation reactions, potassium dichromate generally acts in acidic, neutral, and basic. In all possible dimensions, it able to work and it able to oxidize some other species depending on the response requirement. For example, potassium dichromate upon reacting with the hydrochloric acid, there is a provision for the formation of KCl and CrCl3. And in addition, you can also obtain here chlorine as one of the product here. Chlorine initially existing in -1 oxidation state. In this KCl also -1 will be there. But if you compare with this chlorine molecule, always molecular species are zero valent in nature. No charge is located on their superscript, so that -1 turned into 0, that indicates oxidation of a chloride into chlorine. That is accompanied by this potassium dichromate, where potassium dichromate is having chromium with the +6 oxidation state, and upon oxidation reaction itself, it converted into chromium Cl3. Chromium trichloride will be obtained where chromium is accompanied by +3 oxidation state. There is a decreasing the oxidation number for this chromium, so that it is the oxidizing agent itself involved in the reduction, where chloride is oxidized into chlorine. This is the way oxidation reactions will be proceeded. Now we entered into another concept called a redox reaction with the dichrometry, right? So a general introduction is provided. In that, categorization is given. Dichrometric reactions are most prone in the volumetric analysis. So that we will go for that kind of titrations where chromium initially +6 generally converted to +3 upon this titrimetric analysis. In this, generally used indicator is the chemical which used to trace out the completion of the reaction by changing its own color. DPA is the common indicator provided for dichrometric titrations. DPA abbreviated as the diphenylamine indicator. Now enter into that dichrometric titration. Dichrometry is the volumetric redox titration. Redox stands for the reaction itself involved in the oxidation and reduction reaction simultaneously, that is denoted as a redox titration. Within the volumetry, redox titration, there is a utilization of oxidizing agent called potassium dichromate K2Cr2O7 is possible. Those dichromatic titrations are facilitated by acidic medium. It is widely used for the quantitative estimation of reducing agents like oxalates, iodides, and iron. Ferrous salts also estimated. This is called what? Quantitative analysis. Estimations are accompanied. How many grams are present? How much amount is there? How many milligrams are present? If you are identifying, that is called gravimetric analysis. And in that, if that analysis carried in a liquid form, that is called volumetric analysis. And if you are measuring its amount, so that we can say it is the quantitative analysis. This is regarded as a quantity estimations, right? Ferrous salts, oxalates, and iodides can be estimated by means of this dichrometry by participating in the redox titrations. Principle of dichrometry. In all kind of estimations, the common criteria will be potassium dichromate acts as a strong oxidizing agents under acidic conditions. The reductions of dichromate ions Cr2O7 minus 2 is designated as a dichromate ion that will be turned into a chromium ion in where chromium is accompanied by chromium tripositive Cr plus 3. That chromium ions occurs with the simultaneous oxidation of reducing agent, right? Cr2O7 minus 2 upon reacting with 14H plus ions, you may take a sulfuric acid or hydrochloric acid, the choice is yours. And the 14H plus is the requirement to facilitate this kind of dichromatic titration, where dichromate is able to accept 6 electrons over there, so that chromium plus 6 turned into chromium plus 3. By decreasing oxidation number itself participate in the reduction. And 7 water is also the byproduct in this dichromatic titration. The potassium dichromate itself, it is the primary standard. Primary standard denoted as any compound or any solution which will not change its concentration over the time. For example, if you are measuring the concentration of potassium dichromate at this instance, if it is 1 molar solution, after 6 months, if you are measuring its concentration, it remains the same. Again, 1 molar solution you can absorb. The solution concentration remains fixed, remains constant over the period of time, is regarded as a primary standard because it is highly stable, non-hygroscopic. Non-hygroscopic denotes though it is present in the open air, it will not absorb the moisture from the air, right? So whenever it is in contact with the moistured air, so what happens? Slowly certain extent of water will be absorbed, slowly its dilution will be carried and concentration will be decreased if the compound is hygroscopic. That is not the case for this potassium dichromate, being it is a non-hygroscopic in nature and being it is highly stable in nature. So its concentration will not be varied over the period of time. Though you are measuring the concentration today or else after the week, after the month, after the year, it remains a constant, right? And can be weighed directly. So that being it is the primary standard, in the volumetric analysis, in the first step itself, you can directly weigh, you can directly use in a volumetric analysis, right? So this is the way potassium dichromate is the primary standard and the reactions in the dichrometry. Some kind of dichromatic reactions we already discussed now. Ferrous estimation is possible, oxalate estimation is possible, iodine estimation is possible. In that regard, estimation of ferrous salts are possible. Ferrous ions oxidize to ferric ion in this manner by means of this oxidation reaction of iron and subsequently reduction reactions of chromium. Redox reaction carried within this chemical reaction and estimation is possible quantitatively. This is the way estimation of ferrous ammonium sulfate, which is called Mohr salt, 6 ferrous ions will be taken and Cr2O7 negative 2 will be added over under acidic condition. 14H plus is the essentiality, and there is a provision to obtain 6 Fe plus 3 ferrous turned into ferric, that is called oxidation. By means of increasing one number of oxidation for iron, this is called oxidation, and 2 chromium plus 3 will be obtained because here we have a plus 6, here we have a plus 3, so that reduction of chromium. And in addition, 7 water is the product in this estimation of iron, right? So this is the way you can observe the total reaction, step by step reaction. Whatever estimation of errors we discussed in the single step, that is provided in a stepwise manner. Initially, potassium dichromate is blended with the sulfuric acid. In order to add sulfuric acid, how many moles you should add? 4 moles of sulfuric acid to be added to potassium dichromate, so that potassium dichromate will be converted into potassium sulfate, and there is another possibility, chromium will be converted into chromium sulfate, or another byproducts will be water and nascent oxygen. This is the requirement for the oxidation of iron. Whatever nascent oxygen is nothing but can't be traced. We can't isolate that one. Rather, it will be generated in situ and consumed within the reaction, right? The nascent oxygen, whatever generated immediately going to be reacted again is reacted with the ferrous sulfate. 6 moles of ferrous sulfate to be blended with 3 moles of nascent oxygen, and 3 moles of sulfuric acid again used to be consumed. That's the reason why within the conical you need to take ferrous sulfate, you need to add sulfuric acid, you need to add the indicator what we mentioned DPA and titrated against K2Cr2O7. Whenever this reaction is carried, ferrous sulfate will be turned into a ferric sulfate, and whatever leftover protons and sulfates are there, they turned into, sorry, sulfate totally consumed, and whatever protons are there, they consumed by oxygen and converted into water. This is the way ferrous sulfate will be converted into ferric sulfate by nascent oxygen, which is released by the oxidation, by reduction of potassium dichromate. Potassium dichromate, this is called what? Balanced equation. When we are combining both the equations, left hand turns to be taken left hand side, right hand turns to be taken right hand side. Whatever repeated combinations are there, right and left, to be compensated. K2Cr2O7 1 molar ratio to be taken, and 6 moles of ferrous sulfate to be added. Here 4, here 3. So 4 plus 3 added, so that 7 moles of sulfuric acid is the requirement in this ferrous estimation, so that these are the reactants. So nascent oxygen released and consumed, so that you can cancel out. K2SO4 will be one of the products. Cr2SO4 taken thrice is another product. 4 water, 3 water, total 7 water to be generated. In addition, here we have the actual product. What we need? 3 moles of ferric sulfate that is generated. This is called the stoichiometric ratio of reactants to the products. And estimation of iron requires potassium dichromate, strong oxidizing agent. We entered into another estimation with this dichromatic titration, that is the estimation of oxalate. Oxalates are oxidized to carbon dioxide. Being the kind of molecule whatever taken is a carbon and oxygen compound only, but but upon reaction, sorry. Upon reaction, it will be converted into higher oxidation number. That's the reason why here oxalate turned into carbon dioxide is the kind of oxidation we can denote. Here what we can say, Cr2O7 minus 2 will be turned into Cr tripositive, chromium tripositive will be generated, and whatever 14 protons are there, they turned into 7 water molecules as a product in accompanied by this carbon dioxide and chromium tripositive. Oxalic acid reacted with the potassium dichromate under acidic conditions, because we mentioning H plus, right? Acidic condition is the requirement to form the carbon dioxide as the product. This is the oxidized product. How can we see oxidation? Because initially oxalic acid is having H plus hydrogens. After the product formation, hydrogens missed. Whenever hydrogens are removed, that is also the kind of oxidation we can denote. Chromium ions will be generated, that is chromium plus 3. Here Roman numeral is also provided. Water is a product. The reaction is redox. How can we denote it is a redox? Where the reaction of oxidation and reduction are simultaneous, are one by one, both are possible if in the same reaction, that is called redox titration. Here, oxalic acid will be oxidized, potassium dichromate will be reduced, hence it is the kind of redox reaction. Reaction where the dichromate acts as oxidizing agent, oxalic acid is the reducing agent, the balanced chemical equation is provided. Let me balance the equation. Sorry. 3 moles of oxalic acid can be titrated against K2Cr2O7 in the acidic medium. 7 moles of sulfuric acid will be added in the presence of diphenylamine indicator. There is a formation of 3 moles of carbon dioxide and chromium will be transformed into chromium sulfate. Potassium will be converted into potassium sulfate. 7 moles of water is also originated. This is the way dichromatic titration for the estimation of oxalic acid is carried in the volumetric analysis. And another example under dichrometry will be our estimation of iodides. Initially, the compound exists in the salt form of iodide, and that will be treated with potassium dichromate. Again, the essentiality will be acidic medium, and the indicator you may take same, that is diphenylamine indicator, where iodide will be transformed into molecular iodine. I2 will be originated. I minus to I0 is said to be increase in the oxidation number called iodine oxidation. Wherever potassium dichromate, the same kind of transformation, chromium plus 3 will be obtained, and whatever protons are there, that get converted into a water byproduct. The reaction is perfectly mentioned in a complete reaction equation. K2Cr2O7, where chromium is accompanied by +6 oxidation number, and potassium iodide will be -1. After the reaction, chromium turned into chromium tripositive, and iodine turned into iodine, molecular iodine, accompanied by a 0 oxidation number. So that +6 converted into +3 reduction, -1 converted into 0 oxidation. This is the way redox reaction is carried in this dichromatic titration for the estimation of iodide, so that you can obtain the iodine molecule. This is the way iodine estimation is carried. Oxidizing properties of potassium dichromate, acidic medium, it able to work upon all three conditions like acidic, basic, and neutral. All three are possible, so that potassium dichromate is reduced to chromium +3. Whenever you are utilizing potassium dichromate as oxidizing agent, in all possible conditions, there is a formation of chromium +3 ions after the reaction. The general equations are dichromate can be treated with 14H+. Whatever reactions we observed till now, in all the reactions, 14H plus got consumed by the dichromate, and it requires 6 electrons. Why 6 electrons? Initially, we have two chromiums. Afterwards, it converted into chromium +3. So, individual chromium is +6. Individual chromium accepts 3 electrons. So, that 6 electrons for 2 chromium atoms in this dichromate. So, that individual chromium will be turned into +3 by accepting 3 electrons each. That's the reason why 6 electrons is a mandatory requirement for the consumption by the potassium dichromate. Chromium +3 and 7 moles of water will be originated. So potassium dichromate, upon reacting with sulfuric acid, K2SO4, Cr2SO4, and water will be generated. And there is a release of nascent oxygen. That nascent oxygen able to combine with H2O2, for example. If the reaction is carried in between the nascent oxygen and hydrogen peroxide is also able to release one of the nascent oxygen, right? So peroxide bond is highly sterically hindered, so that releases one of the oxygen and giving rise to water, and another product will be oxygen. This is the way potassium dichromate also reacted with the hydrogen peroxide under acidic conditions, able to release molecular oxygen. Molecular oxygen release is also also the kind of oxidative, sorry, this is the kind of redox reaction we can notice. In this reaction, potassium dichromate is oxidizing agent, and hydrogen peroxide itself H2O2 is converted into H2O. Let me count oxygens over there. H2O2, oxygen, each oxygen having -2 here, each oxygen -1, each oxygen is having -2 over there. That's the reason why oxygen number decreased, and oxygen oxidation number is also decreased for hydrogen peroxide. This is the way K2Cr2O7 reacted with 4 sulfuric acid and 3 moles of H2O2. There is a formation of K2SO4 and chromium sulfate will be possible. Chromium sulfate. Let me count chromium oxidation number here. Initially, chromium is having, oxygen is having -2. -2 multiplied with 7, so that -14 is possible. -14, but here we have a +2. So -14 plus 2, so the two charges compatiated, 12 will be there. 12 to be distributed among two chromium, so the 12 divided with the 2, so that each chromium accompanied with +6. This is the way calculation of oxidation number is possible for chromium. After the product formation, here is the Cr2SO4 taken thrice. Each sulfate accommodates -2 charge, -2 to be multiplied with 3 exponents, so that -2 into 3 we have -6. -6 to be distributed among two chromium, so that 6 divided with the 2, so individual chromium is accommodate +3, so that we can say here is the +6 turned into +3. That is the common transformation you can notice. K2SO4, here is the K2, here is the K2, no change. SO4 is there, here SO4 is there, no change. But H2O2 is transformed into H2O. There is a change in this hydrogen peroxide itself. It is oxidized, and release of oxygen molecule is possible. Dichromate upon reacting with iron. This is another peculiar reaction we can say. So here iron solid was taken, and 14H plus you can add. There is formation of 2 moles of chromium +3 and 2 Fe +3 will be generated, and 7 water is the product formation. So this is another requirement, another possibility we can say for oxidation reaction. Here is the problem based on dichromatic titration. This is the question. This is the problem we can say pertaining electrochemistry, and NCERT index question. It will be consider the reaction dichromate can be treated with 14H plus and consumption of 6 electron. This is the common dichromatic reaction. Whatever the reaction, whatever the estimation, this is the common requirement for the dichromate. And chromium will be turned into 2 moles of Cr +3 and 7 water is the product. What is the quantity of electricity in coulombs needed to reduce 1 mole of dichromate? Being it is the concern regarding the electrochemistry, how much current is required in coulombs to be calculated. In order to calculate the molar ratio of the compound to be absorbed, whenever dichromate treated with 14H plus 6 electrons, there is a formation of 2 moles of chromium +3 and 7H2O. This is already known. 1 mole of dichromate able to consume 6 electrons. 2 moles of chromium +3 will be generated. Right, 1 mole of dichromate consumes 6 electrons, so the 2 moles of chromium +3 will be generated. So that 6 moles of electrons are required to reduce 1 mole of dichromate. 1 mole of electrons exhibit how much charge? 1 mole of electrons exhibit 1 Faraday of charge. 1 Faraday is nothing but 96,500 of coulombs. Coulombs they are asking, so that Faraday to be transformed into coulombs. So 1 mole of electrons are nothing but 96,500 coulombs of current. But 6 moles of electrons, how much charge will be there? So 1 mole is having 96,500. 6 moles, how much? So that cross multiplication 6 into 96,500 divided with 1. So 96,500 into 6 moles by 1 mole. Mole will be cancelled. So that 96,500 can be multiplied with 6. That is 5,79,000 is the value of coulombs electricity required for the reduction of 1 mole of potassium dichromate. This is the way the problem solvation is possible. And now we entered into again our concept called oxidation. Here it is possible. Potassium dichromate not only restricted to the inorganic chemistry, but also expanded to the organic chemistry. Oxidation of alcohols are possible. Alcohols are possible. Primary alcohols, primary alcohols are nothing but wherever carbon is bounded to hydroxide. So that is to be bounded with only one alkyl group. So around that hydroxyl carbon, if only one alkyl group is present, that is called a primary alcohol. A strong oxidizing can convert the primary alcohols into carboxylic acid. So that primary alcohol is the case that reagent is K2Cr2O7 under acidic conditions. Always corresponding carboxylic acid will be generated, or alcohol will be turned into aldehyde. Aldehyde further converted into carboxylic acid. This is the higher oxidation of alcohols. Always alcohols to carboxylic acid is the higher oxidation. So two-step oxidation is proceeded, being it is a strong oxidizing agent. Now, secondary alcohol. The case is secondary alcohols. Whenever secondary alcohols were taken, there is a provision to achieve ketones as the product. Secondary alcohol. Secondary alcohols are nothing but whenever alcoholic carbon is bounded with two alkyl groups, the carbon containing hydroxy, if bounded with two more alkyl groups further, that is called secondary alcohol. Here, primary alcohol giving rise to aldehyde, correspondingly carboxylic acid. This already we discussed. Secondary alcohol is the condition upon reacting with K2Cr2O7 under acidic conditions, there is a provision to achieve ketone. Ketone is a partially oxidized one. Higher oxidation may not be possible, being two sides we have alkyl and no hydrogen is resided on the carbon. So this is the way. Primary alcohol giving rise to a carboxylic acid. Secondary alcohol giving rise to a ketone as the product with the K2Cr2O7. This is the oxidation pattern. Now, we have another application, that is sulfides will be transformed into sulfates. Sulfide is nothing but any compound is having sulfur itself. Sulfur -2 charge will be there and it is accompanied by two alkyl like this. You can add with oxidizing agent like K2Cr2O7, H2O2 and CaMnO4 that able to convert initially sulfoxide. Sulfur double bond O is the partial oxidation form. That sulfoxide will be further oxidized, being it is the strong oxidizing agent. One more oxidation level is proceeded, giving rise to sulfone. So S double bond O is possible because the sulfur able to exist conveniently in +6 oxidation number, right? That's the reason why here is the here is the provision for accommodate these many oxygens around that, so that sulfide will be transformed into sulfone, and you may treat it as a sulfate as well. That is also the possibility, but higher oxidation is possible by means of K2Cr2O7. K2Cr2O7 reduced to chromium hydroxide. K2Cr2O7 reduced to chromium hydroxide. Fe+2 will be converted into Fe+3 under neutral conditions. Under neutral conditions, there is a possibility chromium hydroxide formation is possible. So in all possible mediums, dichromate is able to react. If you are taking basic medium as the consideration, Cr2O7 - 2 can be treated with hydroxide, giving rise to CrO4 - 2. So potassium dichromate will be turned into potassium chromate. So K2CrO4 is the product. K2CrO4 is the product that can be indicated in the ionic form CrO4 - 2 and H2O. This is under basic condition. This is another application, we can say normal application is mentioned. This is called hydrazine. Potassium dichromate reacted with hydrazine under acidified conditions, giving rise to chromium sulfate. So here potassium dichromate turned into chromium sulfate. Whatever hydrazine we have, that converted into nitrogen. So N2H4 turned into N2. So that hydrogens removed, we can say oxidation. So potassium ions, whatever they turned into K2SO4, and there is a whatever hydrogens released get converted into water. In this dichromatic titration, common byproduct will be water, you can observe. And +6 will be transformed into +3 under this dichromatic titration. Here is another reaction. H2S treated with K2SO4, K2Cr2O7. H2SO4 is the acidic medium reacted over there. H2S is a dihydrogen sulfide. There is a formation of sulfur. Sulfur formation is possible. It is also regarded as oxidation because sulfur initially -2, but here sulfur solid generated will be 0 oxidation in number. So -2 converted into 0 is also the kind of oxidation we can regard. And potassium dichromate is the oxidizing agent. A general description, general observation is provided regarding potassium dichromate. Potassium dichromate is abbreviated as K2Cr2O7. Cr2O7 -2 is also mentioned. Dichromate ion, we can say, gives a orange coloration upon the addition of water solution. Oxidation state of chromium in Cr2O7 -2 will be a +6. Chromium is the transition metal and it is the kind of D4 system. So D4 is 4s2 3d4, general electronic configuration 4s2 3d4, but half-filled configuration is highly stable. Exceptionally, there is a peculiarity in the filling of electrons. 4s1 3d5 is the electronic configuration for this chromium, being all the half-filled are highly stable. Whenever it is converted into +6, argon is the noble electronic configuration we can place in the square bracket. Up to 18 it will be completed. Later on, +6 if present, so electron from the s orbital, all the electrons from the d orbital you could remove, so that 4s1 3d5, 1 electron from s orbital, 5 electrons from d orbital. If removed, 3d0 4s0 is the case in a chromium +6. Being K2Cr2O7, we have a +6, right? So that is completely empty. No unpaired electrons, vacant d orbital you can observe whenever chromium is in +6. The color is due to, though it is completely vacant, it able to exhibit intense color of orange. That is because charge transfer form from the oxygen to chromium. Charge transfer spectra it gives the intense colors for the complexes, so that oxygen to chromium charge transfer is observed. Chromium has a vacant d orbital, hence there is a charge transfer is possible. That's why potassium dichromate exhibiting a intensified color. Now, detailed organic applications are going to be discussed. Let me go with the detailed applications of potassium dichromate in the field of organic chemistry. If you want to convert aldehyde into carboxylic acid conveniently, you can blend this aldehyde compound with the K2Cr2O7, so that there is a provision to achieve this corresponding carboxylic acid. But the condition, if tertiary alcohol was taken, tertiary alcohol is nothing but around the alcoholic carbon. If you have 1, 2, 3 alkyl side chains, so this kind of carbon may not go for the oxidation. The reaction is completely forbidden. K2Cr2O7 may not proceed for the further oxidation of tertiary alcohols. No reaction is observed. Tertiary alcohols can't be oxidized further. But whenever we have a secondary alcohol, that is convenient to go for dichromate oxidation, that is convenient to convert alcohol into a ketonic compound. Being it is a secondary, there is a provision to achieve ketonic compound. If it is primary, carboxylic acid is the product, but it is the secondary, so that I got ketone as the product. And we are taking cyclic alcohol, cyclic ketone will be the product. Here is the di-alcoholic compound at 1,2 position. 1,2 position is called a vicinal position. This is called what? Benzene 1,2 diol. So 1, 2 dihydroxybenzene is the IUPAC nomenclature for the compound. IUPAC stands for International Union for Pure and Applied Chemistry. And when we are having this, catechol is the name, and K2Cr2O7 will be working upon this as oxidizing agent under acidified conditions. Correspondingly, both alcoholic compounds will be converted into ketonic one. And initially, the compound is existing in a benzonoid, and the benzonoid quininoid structure is destroyed after the oxidation process. We got ketonic form. And this is a reactant. We are taking primary alcohol right here. CH2OH is there. Obviously, there is a reactant primary alcohol, so that the expected product will be carboxylic acid. Benzyl alcohol was taken. Benzoic acid is the product upon the addition of potassium dichromate, sulfuric acid, and moistened conditions. The expected product will be benzoic acid. Whenever we are taking methanol, potassium dichromate, and sulfuric acid, these are the reacting species in the reaction vessel. The expected product will be formic acid because we need to go for the oxidation, right? So that alcohol to carboxylic acid, only one carbon, so that primary, only first carbon carboxylic acid will be formic acid only. And another byproduct is Cr2SO4 minus 3, sorry, Cr2SO4 taken thrice, and potassium will accept a sulfate and K2SO4, and water will be the product. So this is the way methanol will be converted into formic acid by oxidation with the potassium dichromate under acidified conditions. Not only alcohols, but also amines. Amines also treated with K2Cr2O7 under acidified conditions. We are taking aniline as a starting material, but the product expected is not oxidized form of NH2, rather it will be a quininoid form. This is called a benzoquinone. Aniline will be converted into benzoquinone upon dichromate addition. We have another reactant. All these are the specimen reactions for the better understanding of applicability of potassium dichromate. I am taking, here it is very tricky in nature. I am taking alcohol, but it seems to be tertiary. But in the observation, it is not tertiary, rather it is a primary. Though we have 3 alkyl side chains, but it is not directly connected with hydroxy. But this carbon, whatever attached to hydroxy, is a one where you can observe one hydrogen, two hydrogens. Later on, it will be connected with tertiary carbon. There is no direct bondage between the tertiary carbon and hydroxy, so that it is convenient to go for oxidation with potassium dichromate. This is the primary alcohol, not confused with the tertiary, because here we have CH2. If this CH2 is observed, that CH2 conveniently go for the oxidation further and giving rise to carboxylic acid with the dichromate addition. This is the way you can observe the reactant 1 or 2 times in order to predict the product in that oxidation. Let me go with another expected reaction. Here is the long chain. You can notice here is the branch, here is the branch, here is the alkyl, sorry, hydroxy upon 1, 2, 3. Third carbon atom is accommodated with the hydroxyl group. So, and we can classify this hydroxyl as a secondary alcohol. Whenever secondary alcohol is the case, K2Cr2O7 is the oxidizing agent, sulfuric acid is the acidic medium provided, aquated conditions are taken for the better reaction. What could be the product? Everybody are given as assignment in order to achieve the product over there. Secondary alcohol oxidation with dichromate, what could be the product? It is not that much complicated one. Everybody can answer. Secondary alcohol oxidation with potassium dichromate. The expected product you have to mention in the comment box. Let me go with another example related with this oxidation. I am taking long chain on the benzene, and there is a methyl, there is a hydroxyl, dichromate and H2SO4 are added so that there is a provision to achieve this carboxylic acid. Whenever we have an alcoholic compound and potassium or sodium dichromate, either of the salt can be taken, and the sulfuric acid is the medium for the better oxidation. The whatever 2 hydrogens are there to be oxidized into corresponding carboxylic acid. This is the one with the primary. And whenever secondary alcohol was taken, the expected product will be ketonic one. Ketone will be a provision we got. Primary alcohol upon reacting. Potassium dichromate whenever reacted, in situ production of this chromic acid is possible. The chromic acid is generated within the reaction, is able to bonded with this bonded with this alcohol in this manner, there is a chromate ester generation is possible. Just like manganate ester we discussed, here the chromate ester formation is possible. So, water will abstract this H plus and there is a formation of corresponding aldehyde. Aldehyde will be generated. Aldehyde again treated with dichromate or chromic acid again. Under moistened condition, there is a provision to add carboxylic acid further. That is the step 2. In the same manner, manganate ester one more time will be generated, giving rise to a corresponding carboxylic acid over there. This is the way mechanism is given for your better understanding. Oxidation of aldehydes. Whenever aldehyde is a starting material, there is a dichromate oxidation giving rise to a corresponding carboxylic acid. This is only one step oxidation we can say. This is the one long chain was taken. Here is the alcohol. Whatever long chain, irrespective of the chain length, only the functional group, whatever present, we need to observe. So that functional group again reacted with K2Cr2O7, and this alcohol will be turned into a carboxylic acid. And one more question is provided. We are trying to solve that one. Acidified dichromate is turning into a green color upon reacting with sulfur dioxide. Sulfur dioxide is the medium which able to turn orange color into a green one. Dichromate, a green coloration of Cr2SO4 is formed. Cr2SO4 is formed because of the reaction with sulfur dioxide under acidified conditions. Dichromate will be converted into K2SO4 and Cr2SO4. Cr2SO4 is called chromium sulfate, which is green in color. And here the water is another product you can notice. This is the way K2Cr2O7 converted into a chromium sulfate. And here is another important aspect regarding this chromium compounds. So many chromium compounds you can notice. Na2CrO4 called potassium chromate, H2SO4, Na2Cr2O7 called potassium dichromate, and this is called chromium trioxide. This is called potassium dichromate, K2Cr2O7, K2CrO4 called potassium chromate. Whatever compounds we have, upon reaction with the organic reactants, there is the in situ generation of chromic acid. This is the one responsible for the oxidative reactivity of these chromium complexes, chromium compounds. That's why whatever the reactant you are adding with the starting material, within the reaction mixture, there is a instant generation of H2CrO4 is possible, which is regarded as chromic acid. This chromic acid is able to oxidize the substance whatever present in the reaction vessel. This is the way all are going to produce the single compound called chromic acid. Now we will see the mechanism one more time. Whenever chromic acid is able to react with this primary alcohol, there is a manganate ester formation because electrons present on the oxygen, lone pair of electrons are susceptible to go for the reaction with chromium. Simultaneously, it able to remove the hydroxide. Whenever hydroxide is removed, there is a formation of this chromate ester bond and oxygen lost the electrons, right? So that oxygen accompanied by positive charge. In order to remove the charge over there, water will be abstracting this H plus. Whenever water accepting H plus, the electrons of the bond will be retained by the oxygen. There is a chromate ester is possible. Again, we need to delocalize the electrons. The bonded electrons are moving towards the oxygen and simultaneous cleavage of the bond over there. Oxygen chromium bond is abstracted towards the chromium, and this H plus will be taken with the base, and these electrons are moving over there, giving rise to a double bond, which is called a ketonic bond. This is said to be a secondary alcohol, subsequently converted into a ketonic form by chromic acid oxidation. And this is the simplest example in the organic chemistry. You can see ethanol, that is C2H5OH. K2Cr2O7 is the oxidizing agent to be added. H2SO4 is the medium for the facilitation of the reaction. The expected product will be Cr2SO4, that is chromium sulfate, and acetic acid is the expected oxidized product of ethanol. Acetic acid is the product, and K2SO4, potassium sulfate, water will be the byproducts generated. Chemical equations, I'm taking ketone over there, nascent oxygen released from the K2Cr2O7. there is a oxidative cleavage of the bond. This is exactly regarded as a oxidative cleavage. Wherever ketonic bond is there with the carbon, that will be broken and giving rise to corresponding two carboxylic acids. CH3COOH is the product generated over there. And here I'm taking a kind of compound. This already we discussed earlier. Let me repeat one more time. This is the vicinal dihydroxy upon treating with potassium dichromate and provision to obtain a diketone over there. This destroying the aromaticity in this oxidation process. Again, it is the kind where we have a secondary alcohol upon reacting with the K2Cr2O7 orange coloration solution can be added over there, and ketone will be the product expected. And this is the cyclopentyl alcohol will be taken K2Cr2O7 when added cyclopentanone will be the expected product, being it is the secondary alcohol. It is also the secondary alcohol. It is also the kind of ketone. In this slide, all the reactions are segregated in such a way the product is expected to be a ketone, being all are secondary in nature, starting materials. Now we are able to see whenever K2Cr2O7 reacted with hydrochloric acid, there is a formation of chromium trichloride. +6 will be turned into +3 so that we can say it is a reduction where chlorine -1 is turned into 0. That is called oxidation. Primary alcohols converted into initially aldehydes, finally into a carboxylic acid. So that I'm taking propanol, long chain propanol will be taken, aquated potassium dichromate will be added, and a few drops of sulfuric acid is blended to enhance the reaction. Propanoic acid is the product expected. Secondary alcohols, I'm taking isopropanol as the starting material. Propanone will be generated by this K2Cr2O7 oxidation. Tertiary alcohols, if reacted, this is the comparative study we can mention. Whenever tertiary alcohols are treated with the K2Cr2O7, there is no expected product because there is no expected oxidation reaction, because alcoholic carbon is not having any hydrogens. That's the reason why there is no provision. So no hydrogen atoms attached to the carbon, which is bonded with the hydroxyl. That's the reason why tertiary alcohols are not susceptible for the oxidation reaction with K2Cr2O7. No reactivity. Oxidation of alkenes. I'm taking olefinic double bond can be treated with K2Cr2O7. The expected product will be vicinal diol, which is called glycol. Ethane 1,2 diol is called ethylene glycol. Ethylene glycol is expected whenever K2Cr2O7 treated with this ethene molecule. And I'm going to treat this kind of toluene molecule. This is a toluene I'm going to oxidize by means of K2Cr2O7. Whatever side chain we have, this methyl can be transformed into a carboxylic acid, which is called a benzoic acid. Benzoic acid will be generated. The reaction is similar by means of this potassium permanganate oxidation. Both are resembling each other. Now I am going to give some more examples, some more applications related with this potassium dichromate. Whatever thioether was taken can be transformed into a kind of higher oxidized form called sulfones. So thioether, upon reacting with K2Cr2O7, that sulfur will be achieving two oxygens with the double bond, so that sulfur is a larger atom. That's the reason why it is convenient to accommodate two double bonded oxygens over there. That's why here sulfone is the common application, common oxidized form starting from sulfur, that is thioether, by means of strong oxidizing agents. I'm going to treat this is called thioalcohol. Sulfur is denoted as a thio. SH is called alcohol. So the thioalcohol, upon oxidation with K2Cr2O7, there is a possibility of dimerization. Two equivalents are required to be combined. And there is a formation of sulfur-sulfur linkage, which is called a disulfide. This is the way oxidation reactions of the sulfur are also possible. Let me collate all kind of oxidation reactions with the various kind of reactants, and what could be the product by means of dichromate oxidation. If alkene is the starting material, there is a formation of diol. Diol formation is the possibility if the cleavage is carried under heating conditions. We are going to rise the temperature to high, so that cleavage at that instance giving rise to two carbonyl compounds are possible. That depends upon the reaction temperature. Benzylic carbon, if it is the case, we are taking toluene, that corresponding carboxylic acid is the expected product. Aldehyde is the starting material, carboxylic acid is the oxidized product with dichromate. Primary alcohol is the case, carboxylic acid is the product. Secondary alcohol is the starting material, ketone is the product expected. Tertiary alcohol, no reaction is visible. That is the reactivity of potassium dichromate K2Cr2O7. By this, we are going to conclude the entire session. Hopefully, this is more informative, more application purview is provided regarding potassium dichromate. It is the section of oxidations and reductions. We are going to conduct a series of sessions related with the same kind of concept what we are discussing now. Hopefully, this is informative and application oriented, and is very important for the scholars which are working upon the synthetic organic chemistry, and also the students who are in the post-graduation and the graduation domain of the chemistry. In all these domains, it is most informative in nature. The session was conducted by Dr. Kavita Kottireddy Kota. Thank you very much for your patient listening. Thank you, one and all.